Since 1965, Medicare insurance has helped millions of aging Americans pay for health care services. You likely have already paid into the program through Social Security. If you're fast approaching or have just recently passed that 65-year milestone, take heart. Medicare can be a welcome perk, especially if you take time to understand the different parts of the program and the wealth of resources it provides.
Medicare is an insurance program, health insurance, for older adults, either over 65 or 2 years disabled. It's provided by the federal government, and it replaces whatever you had before. Are there ifs, ands, and buts with Medicare? Absolutely. Absolutely. There's all kinds of odd situations, like if you're over 65 but you didn't work, but your spouse is 62, you can get Medicare on their record. There's all kinds of things like that. Medicaid is based on your income, and Medicare is based on your age. Medicare is federal, and it applies federally. Any state in the United States has Medicare. Medicaid, they all have it, but it's all dispensed, it's all governed by the state that you're in. Medicaid pays for you to be in a nursing home on that downhill slide. There are things called activities of daily living, and if you need help with 2 or more of those, feeding yourself, ambulating, toileting on and off in the bathroom, you need help from another person, not a device. A wheelchair is great, but from a person to do those things, you're starting to be eligible to be in a nursing home, and Medicare is not going to pay for that. But if you do not have the funds, Medicaid can pay for that. And there's a whole lot of regulations about that, and it is changing too. You used to have to impoverish yourself. If your husband wound up in a nursing home, you had to pretty much sell everything before he would be eligible for Medicaid. But now they do have some exemptions. If there's a community-based spouse, they will allow you to keep one home, they will allow you to keep one car, they will allow you to keep your possessions in the home, but your bank accounts and CDs and those kinds of things, those will need to be divided between the institution-based spouse and the community-based spouse. To wrap up, Medicare, Medicaid, those things change. They do change. And you may feel like, you know, do I know what I'm doing? Do I not know what I'm doing? Have I blown something somewhere? What do you need to do? What do you need to sign up for? Because it is alphabet soup. Medicare itself has A, B, C, D, and then the secondary insurances have A, B, C, D, E, it just goes on and on and on. So yeah, it can be very confusing.
Navigating the Medicaid system isn't always easy. Elder law or elder care attorneys can help families who need long-term care apply for coverage when the time comes, plan and administer an estate, represent guardians, and create and administer trusts. An elder law attorney can help guide you and your family through the senior care maze, making sure nothing happens to your loved one's assets and, more importantly, their quality of life.
An elder law attorney in general is really honed and focused in on trying to make sure that the senior doesn't lose the family farm, so to speak, when they're staring down the barrel of a long-term care or nursing home stay. In addition to that, we also try to make sure that they have a degree of care advocacy as well. We're always nervous because nursing home care is so expensive, assisted living care is expensive. What happens to a family's finances when they get that diagnosis of Alzheimer's or they get that diagnosis of Parkinson's and they're looking down at several years in a facility at a rate of anywhere from $5,000 to $13,000 a month. And so we're always concerned about making sure that your documents are in order to give your family maximum flexibility to get the assets positioned to a place where they need to be, so to potentially protect them, even if you have to face that kind of a crisis. In my view, the power of attorney document is the single most thing that you can have in your arsenal to try to A, protect your assets, and B, make it through the elder care continuum with some dignity. The healthcare power of attorney document and living will potentially is also very, very important. Again, a healthcare power of attorney document, you're naming somebody, an agent, to make healthcare decisions for you when you no longer can. You don't want to leave that to chance. It's also important to recognize that not all power of attorney documents are created equally. You have to have specific clauses in there that, frankly, most power of attorney documents that were done maybe when you were 50 years old, they don't have. Also, does your power of attorney document have a trust power, the authority to create trusts? There are certain trusts you can set up even when you're already in the nursing home that can shield some of your assets while you're still alive, go on to Medicaid, and still have a pool of money to spend on yourself for things that Medicaid won't cover, like cable TV, like a cell phone, like a private room. Those are huge quality of life issues when your world has become reduced to the four corners of a nursing home wall. You can do so much more if you plan ahead. And we tend to explain things in terms of people like to plan for the bridges of life, but they plan for both sides of the span. On one side, you've got your nest egg, your retirement planning, your 401k, your IRA, your CD, whatever. And on the other side, you have a will or trust or payable on death account. The problem is nobody plans for the middle. And you can build up a heck of a nest egg and blow through everything by the time you ever get to the other side of the bridge, of course, with your passing. So the elder law attorney really focuses on that span in the middle. There is three elements to elder care planning. One is care advocacy, financial advocacy, and legal advocacy. You need all three to get through that maze.
If a senior needs help and chooses not to go into a care facility, the responsibility often lands on family members who are often untrained and unequipped for the lifestyle change that goes with caring for someone elderly. But if you are taking care of a family member, know that you are not alone and not without resources.
Most of the caregiving of older people and disabled people in this country is provided by their family members. Free of charge, of course, and I think it has a huge impact on caregivers' lives.
Lori Petrie is with the Council on Aging for Southwestern Ohio. She says taking care of an elderly or disabled loved one often happens without warning, and the caregiver often finds themselves unprepared.
People do not plan for this. They don't anticipate how much change it's going to make in their lives, and they don't get a whole lot of support or financial resources to help them do that job. So it is a huge, unrecognized group of people who are doing an amazing service.
In Ohio, if family caregivers were paid for their services, it would cost $14.2 billion each year.
The system is really not set up to pay for the kinds of long-term care that most of us need. The meal, the wheelchair ramp, the housekeeping help, the bathing, that kind of help is really not systematically paid for, and so people have to find a way to put it together. The first tip I would have for caregivers is to not go it alone. So many people think, I can do it best, I can handle this. But if you see yourself as a professional rather than just the son or the daughter doing your duty, then you're more likely to seek help through your support system or through organizations that can help you. Because if you try to do it alone, you will crash and burn, and then how does that help your older loved one? So get family support, get support from friends, get support from the community resources that are there. I think people are living longer these days, and longevity is a wonderful thing, but there is a price to pay for that. And that means that many people are living in a debilitated condition, not for weeks, not for months, but for years. So who's going to provide all the caregiving? It is these family members, these unsung heroes in our society, and I would say there needs to be a recognition of them, and for the caregivers themselves, an awareness that there is help in the community. Seek it out, give yourself time to find where it is. Contact Council on Aging is a good place to start, and get the help that you need to do your really critical, important job that society needs to thank you for.